Pitch Perfect. I bet you didn't ever expect me to review this movie. But honestly, I did want to kind of talk about the trilogy because I bought this Target exclusive Blu-ray set and I started watching them because I kind of enjoy these movies. And I want to explain why, and it's kind of a type of movie I miss. This movie is kind of like a 90s comedy movie in like the vein of something like Clueless and kind of stuff. It just kind of is fun. I really like this movie. It's fun. This movie is the kind of movie that if you look at this movie and go, that's dumb, I won't like that movie. You shouldn't ever watch it. This movie is the type of movie where it just does what it needs to do, which is that you have this group of girls who are starting this a cappella group, and they're kind of the laughing stock at first. They rise to the top. It's like a sports movie, except for like a cappella, which is kind of awesome if you think about it. And so it kind of gives this new fresh flavor to like the sports movie genre, even though it's not really a sport, but it's kind of on the same level of like it's like in Mean Girls where they have different names, like how Mean Girls where the main girl will like compare them to wild animals. Well, they have different names for all these different groups of acapella guys, acapella people, and they like want to go compete. I'm doing a terrible job explaining this fucking movie. These group of girls get started an acapella group, and it's funny, and it has enough fun with it and energy. And the cast of this movie is a lot of fun. They do what they need to do. Rebel Wilson, who I don't usually like and stuff, actually does a pretty decent job, and she's fun in this movie. And I think it is a shame though that she's forever associated with a character that literally has fat in her name. And I get that's the joke of the character, but like now that she's thinned out, it feels kind of mean because now she's always associated with being fat, and that just feels like very mean and kind of cruel. And I think that's why like Jonah Hill recently and certain actors like that kind of went in interviews and said like I'm not going to do these kind of interviews like this anymore because it does give you a lot of meanness to it. So that's kind of humor that's a little bit dated in this movie. I feel like nowadays we're trying to work past the jokes of haha fat because it's kind of mean spirited in nature, and I just don't really like that. But the rest of this movie's fun, and they got Anna Kendrick in it. Anna Kendrick, there's a reason that she's cast in musicals. There's a reason she's a fucking singing troll and Into the Woods. She's like, what was she like Cinderella? I haven't seen that movie in a while, but like it's a good. So it is really fun because this movie is like a sports movie where you get like a bunch of weirdo outcasts who join this sports team. In this case, is an a cappella group. They rise to the top, do their thing. It's very generic, very tropey, but it's fun and again, it does add a new, fresh flavor. Even though this technically isn't a sports movie, I just compare it to that because it's very similar to one, and it kind of does what it needs to do, and it has fun with that. That's what I really enjoy about this movie. I think sometimes you'll meet critics who look down on films like this because they don't really say anything artistically. They're not the most crazy, insane movies, right? But but if you really were to just look at a film like this, it really is just not made for those types of people. It's just a film that just does what it needs to do, does it well enough, and that's good. Roger Ebert always had a saying: if the film does what it needs to do, then what is there really to complain about? I think that's such a smart way of saying it because A Clockwork Orange is like a masterpiece, right? It has a lot to say artistically. It's incredibly shot. Expecting every film to be like that is dumb, and so like watching a film like this and just enjoying the type of movie it is nice. I think everybody has films like this, whether they like to admit it or not. And like for me, it's fucking Pitch Perfect. I don't know. It's dumb. It's stupid. It does what it needs to do, and I have fun with that. And I like this movie for that reason. If you were to like really break down how great of a film this is, bit by bit, it probably wouldn't be the greatest film ever made, but it was not trying to be. I enjoy it for what it is, and I think a lot of people should just look at more movies like this. And yeah, I'm going to be reviewing the Pitch Perfect movies So stay tuned for that. I thought it'd be fun because I do need to make more content for the second channel, and I thought it'd be fun because I'm also slowly rewatching the movies. So,